All right, here we go. Hey, everybody. Austin here from Las Vegas. I'm actually in my office here at the house, and just having a good day. This is a different kind of Worship Catalyst update here for August 2014. I've got a good friend here, Nathan Rawls, and we're going to talk to him here in just a minute, and I'll tell you a little bit more about Nathan in a second. But before that, just a few things going on I wanted to highlight really quickly, and one of them is, actually within the last 2 or 3 days, we've had a few more videos. I think 6 more videos go online for training. Let me tell you about our training strategy on that. There are guitar and bass and drum and lead guitar videos that we put up online that are training. They're small, they're short, usually somewhere in the 5-7 minute range, and they help people that are in churches that we can't get to and leaders that we can't get to kind of get bite-sized training so they can learn how to play instruments in their church plants or in their churches as a whole. And we've literally well over 10,000 views on these videos in total. We've got 40 of them up right now. And what's interesting, one went up and the very next day there were already 50 views on one of them. So I'm not even sure how people are finding out about them, but that quickly. But it's really an amazing tool that we've got. We've got probably 10 or 15 different musician contributors to that who have, provided different videos and all. So anyway, you might want to go look at that, worshipcatalyst.com, and under the resources tab, you can check that out. It's a cool thing. Point anybody in the direction of that you want to. They're very beginner, some of them. So from people that don't know how to play anything, it teaches them how to play. I want to thank Nicole Palos for reaching out on that. She does most of the editing work and filming work on that. I'm meeting almost every day with new people to try to build the network around here of musicians and worship leaders and creative artists that we can have a hub here in the north side of Las Vegas, northwest side, so that we can help some of the churches coming down the pipe here. There are literally going to be dozens of churches in the next 5 years that get planted in Las Vegas, and so we've got a lot of work to do to stay ahead of that curve. So thank you, as always, for your partnership and your just being a part of Worship Catalyst through your gifts and through your prayers, and you make everything that we do possible. And one of the connectors that we've had on our team for a while is the guy you're looking at on the opposite side of the screen here. It's Nathan Rawls. Hi, Nathan.
Hey.
And Nathan is in Southern Illinois, Marion, Illinois, to be exact. And it may seem like a strange place for us to have a hub, but Nathan is a great worship leader at a church out there that has really expanded, and they've got a vision to plant more churches in the Southern Illinois area, and have already had some success in some helping some churches and things like that. So Nathan's been a connector for what, 2-3 years? You've been with us,
Yeah.
Nathan? Yeah. And I've been out there many times and helped out with their church and kind of got the process set up. And he's great at that. And he just had a baby 6 days ago. So if he starts to doze off, that would be why. So, hey Nathan, let me just ask you a couple questions. And boy, you're talking to a lot of people right now who love what we do and love the service that we provide for new churches and stuff. So, why was it that you decided to become a connector for Worship Catalyst?
Absolutely. So I started leading worship probably almost 10 years ago. At first, whenever I was leading worship, like what I was passionate about was mostly like playing guitar, singing in front of people. As I've grown, as I've matured, it's even been in the past 4 years, and especially even since you started pouring into me as a Worship Catalyst connector, that I started to grow and recognize what I get jazzed up about now is actually seeing other people succeed and seeing other people. So within my team, outside my team, other churches, whenever I get to pour into them and then get to see them just doing super well, and whenever they can come back and say, yeah, hey, this really worked, or they give me a call and say, you know what, I'm really having a hard time with this conversation. That's the stuff that I just get super energized by that, even more than being on stage on the weekends. So as I've discovered that, I've just recognized I'm a whole lot more passionate about discipling other worship leaders than just being a worship leader.
That's so amazing, man. I wish that was contagious and we could bottle it and send it out to everybody, So what are some of the ways that some of the Worship Catalyst processes or teachings or learnings have affected your church?
Sure. Worship Catalyst has been huge for Cornerstone and came at a very good time for us. Definitely God's timing in that. Whenever I first met you, Austin, we were getting ready to go through some growth spurts. So there was some technical stuff that you were able to help us with as we needed to really implement some stuff with our tech team and with our producers to be able to have just a service that was free of distractions and that would really help share the gospel effectively. And then I remember whenever we first went through Worship Leader Essentials, it was super helpful for me. Partially some stuff was new, and then some of it was very much just a solidifying of stuff that I already knew and giving me a great framework for being able to talk with other people. So even this past weekend, I shared with my worship team the 3 different conversations plus one that we've got going on in our head as we were leading in worship. The conversation with God, with the crowd, and with our band, and then also with ourselves. And just being able to see them light up and say, oh, yeah, that makes so much sense. Now I can process what it is that's going on in my head whenever I'm singing or playing an instrument or running the soundboard. So Worship Leader Essentials gave me some huge framework for being able to have good redemptive conversations about what it means to lead in worship. So those have been probably the 2 biggest things that have been huge for us at Cornerstone.
That's great, man. A few weeks ago when I was out there, we sat down with a guy who was several hours and kind of had a long dialogue with him and his family about a church that I guess probably feels a lot like a replant. I guess an old church in a rural area and kind of starting over from scratch. And what kinds of things have you been working on with those guys since then?
Honestly, probably the biggest piece I've been able to celebrate that's been so cool is in that conversation we started noticing just he had kind of a picture of a worship leader in his mind, and it was a guy in his mid-20s playing an acoustic guitar. And so there were actually people in his church that he was kind of missing and didn't recognize were there. Even most notably that his wife was kind of filling in, and neither one of them felt like she was really able to take the lead on that. And after that conversation, I got to go back and talk with him and say, hey man, don't overlook the people that God's already got in your little church. And it was just like a light bulb for him. And since then, like, his wife has been loving it and has even had a couple conversations with me where she said, man, I had no idea how much I would enjoy doing this once I just kind of jumped in with both feet. And so she's just loving it. So that's been a huge celebration for her to be able to step into that. On some practical notes, I've done a couple different trainings with their sound guys. He just said, hey, we've got some serious needs here. So went and kind of helped them evaluate what they needed, even just direct boxes and stuff like that. They had no idea, how to plug into their sound system and get it operational. Basically, they had a brand new building that had not been used at all, so nobody knew how to use anything. So helped train their sound guys a lot. And since then, I've heard some good feedback, just that everything's been going a lot more smoothly. I've got a bass player on my team. The church is about 40 minutes from Cornerstone, so it's kind of hard to share musicians all the time. But I've got a bass player on my team that is that's on a semi-regular basis going up there and helping fill in some of the gaps for them. So yeah, those have been some of the big things. I'm getting ready to start walking through Worship Leader Essentials with his wife.
Fantastic. That's great, man. The thing that I found that is probably the most effective thing that Worship Catalyst does is it helps people to not feel alone. Because it's like ministry and leadership and pastoring and planting and all that kind of stuff can feel like, there's nobody else on the planet but you. But it's great to be able to just kind of come alongside people and encourage them and give them life and some practical help along the way as well. So that's cool. Well, Nathan and I could talk all day and swap stories, but I know this video can't go on too much longer. Thank you for being here, Nathan, and just hanging out with us. One last quick thing for those of you that live in the Houston area: September 20th lunch on Saturday, September 20th. We're going to have our big annual celebration time where we just thank you and thank God for everything that He's been doing over the last year. And man, it's going to be a great time. We look forward to sharing some stories with you and giving you some vision for the future as well for some other levels of the organization and things like that. So anyway, as always, thank you guys. Appreciate you very much. And Nathan, thank you for joining us today. We'll talk to you guys soon. Okay, bye-bye.